You're welcome, my dear students in the 6th grade in primary school. Today we're going to talk about the solar eclipse. Okay, what's meant by solar eclipse? You know, my dear student, that sometimes the sun, or all times, sun emits heat and light. Sun is the source, main source of light here on the earth. So sun emits heat and light every morning. Okay, and half of the people on the earth can see the sun for maybe 12 hours or more or less according to the season, and the other people can't see the sun but can see the moon because they are on the half of the earth that can see the moon only at night. So sun emits heat and light when in the morning or every morning, okay, as you see in the monitor. So huge trees make shadow because they hide some sun rays. Why? Because the light travels in a straight line. Because the light travels in straight line, and sun rays travel in a straight line, as we said. Earth rotates around the sun in oval or elliptical orbit, not circular orbit. As you see, this is the sun, okay, and the earth move in elliptical orbit, as you see, my dear student, not in circular but in orbital elliptical orbit, like that. Not circle, not complete circle. Sometimes it is near to the sun, sometimes it's far from the sun. So earth rotates or revolves around the sun in oval or elliptical orbit. Okay. Moon also rotates around the earth in a smaller oval orbit. As the earth revolves around the sun, in the same time the moon rotates or revolves around the earth. This is the moon. The earth rotates around or revolves around the sun, the moon revolves around the earth. And the moon revolves around the moon in fixed oval orbit. Oval here means something like egg. Okay, and the earth revolves around the sun in fixed elliptical orbit. Okay. So when does solar eclipse happen and when does it occur? What's meant by solar eclipse? Solar eclipse, we can note solar eclipse from the earth when we look in the morning in the daytime. When we look at the sun and we can see nothing, we can see nothing. We can't see the sun rays because the moon blocks the sun rays. The moon casts its shadow on the earth, so we can see the sun. This phenomena is called the solar eclipse, but the solar eclipse takes place or occurs or happens in the morning, in the time that we can see the sun. We can't see the sun at night, but we can see the sun in the morning. But when we can't see the sun in the time that is supposed that we can see the sun in the morning, when the sun rays blocked, when the sun rays we can't see, okay, it's called the solar eclipse. But what is the reason? The reason is the moon is between the sun and the earth in one straight line, that the sun rays fall on the moon and the moon block the sun rays from the earth, and the earth is or lies in the shadow area of the moon. So when the moon comes between the earth and the sun on the same straight line, So now let's do an experiment. As you see, my dear student, this light source, it's supposed that it is the sun, like the sun. Here it is an example for the sun, and this bulb holder, it's supposed to be here as the moon, okay, and this sheet this sheet supposed to be like the earth. Here the moon, the earth, the moon and the sun lie on one straight line with the moon in the middle. So what happened? The sun rays fall, the sunlight falls on this pole, but because the sun rays, the sunlight move in a straight line, this light can't reach this area of this sheet. So this area will be in shadow of the pole. So it will be dark. Why? Because no light reaches it. So it is dark. This area is called shadow of the pole, or it is called umbra. Okay, it's called umbra. So what's meant by umbra here? It is the shadow area, the dark area. What is the umbra of the moon? It is the dark area of the moon, and we can go on after go on. The cone umbra, what's meant by umbra? It is dark inner shadow area. Here, if this is umbra of moon, it is dark inner shadow area of the moon. And next week, we're going to study about the lunar eclipse and the umbra of earth. The umbra of earth, it is dark inner shadow area of earth. But umbra of moon, it is dark inner shadow area of the moon. And penumbra, what's meant by penumbra? It is the faint here means not very dark, faint outer shadow area, So now we studied two terms. Number one, umbra. Here, my dear student, umbra equal dark or equal shadow area, while penumbra means faint, not very dark, equal semi shadow area. So now we have umbra, we have penumbra, and we have lighted area. Okay, we have umbra area, penumbra, and lighted area. Umbra, the sun rays can't reach this region. Penumbra, just faint, it's faint. Some sun rays reach, but in faint way, semi-shaded area, not very dark. And this penumbra lies between umbra and the lighted area. So if I ask you about the area that lies between umbra and lighted area, it is penumbra area. Okay. But if the moon rotates on a higher orbit than the earth, because its orbit is oval, as you see here, again, my dear student, this is a symbol of the sun, symbol of the earth, and this is not umbra area. This is umbra, but this is extension of umbra. It's called penumbra. It's called annular. Here it's antumbra. Umbra, antumbra, penumbra, and this is lighted area. Again, umbra. If the earth lies in this area, it is umbra. But this is the extent of the umbra. It is called antumbra. And this is penumbra, and this is lighted area. When the moon is near to the sun, and we know that the moon is smaller than the sun, its size is smaller than the sun, and it can hide the inner part of the sun, and the sun just appear as lighted ring. So the people on the earth in this area can see the sun as lighted area. So it is called what? Annular solar eclipse. So again, my dear students, we have what? We have umbra. Umbra equal, again, dark shadow area, and shadow area of moon. umbra of moon. It means that the people can't see the sun, can't see the sun, or the sun rays are totally blocked. We can see nothing of the sun. Total solar eclipse. And we have penumbra. Penumbra of moon, it's faint, equal semi-shaded or semi-shadow area of the moon. And here we see part of the sun. Part of the sun. So, if we can see part of the sun, I can call it partial solar to the sun, solar eclipse. And here I can call it total solar eclipse. But because the moon is smaller than the sun, and the moon moves in oval path from the earth, so the moon sometimes is far from the earth and near to the sun, so it can block this part of the sun, can block this part. So the people here just see what? Just see the sun as lighted ring. The moon block this part of sun, and the sun appears as lighted ring. Why? Because the moon is smaller than the sun and can hide its inner part, so the people see the sun as lighted ring, and it is called annular solar eclipse. Annular solar eclipse happens or takes place or occurs in antumbra of moon, antumbra of moon. So now we have astronomical phenomena takes place when the earth, the moon, and the sun lie on one straight line, with the moon is between the earth and the sun. It's called solar eclipse. But if this solar eclipse takes place in umbra of moon, it's called total solar eclipse, and people can see nothing from the sun. If the solar eclipse takes place in the faint area, in the semi-shaded area of the moon, in the penumbra of the moon, it is called partial solar eclipse, and people see the sun, just part of the sun. While the last type of solar eclipse, it's called what? It's called annular solar eclipse. It takes place when the moon is in its higher orbit from the earth, its higher orbit near to the sun, because of the smaller of the moon or than the sun. So the moon can hide the inner part of sun, and the sun appears as lighted ring. It's called annular solar eclipse and takes place in antumbra of the moon. Okay, we will have three types of areas, as you see, my dear student. This is the sun, the moon, and the earth. Okay, solar eclipse. It is astronomical phenomena which occurs when the earth, the moon, and the sun are nearly on one straight line, with the moon in the middle. In case one, when the moon comes between the sun, the earth, nearer to the earth, it blocks the sunlight totally. So we can see nothing from the sun. It's called total solar eclipse. It's total solar eclipse. And partially from another part of Earth's surface forming partial solar eclipse. In case 2, when the moon rotates further to the earth and becomes between the sun and the earth, it causes annular solar eclipse. Shadow is formed when an oblique object blocks a part of the sun. of the light. This phenomena happens when our moon blocks a part of the sun. Okay, but we have to put in our consideration, if we want to notice, or we want to observe this phenomena, the solar eclipse, we have to wear special glasses. Why? Because infrared and ultraviolet rays from the sun may damage our retina of eye. So it may cause blindness. If we look directly to the sun during solar eclipse, we may infect with blindness. That means see nothing. So we have to wear the special glasses, and it lasts for just 7 minutes and just 40 seconds. Now, my dear student, it's the last point for this day, and I wait you for the next week.